1. New York down to Texas. Texas up to Minnesota. Minnesota out to California. 5 things to watch for on this election day. 2. Are we about to put special forces on the ground in Mexico? Are we about to go after kinetic action, the drug cartels? How many illegals are actually on welfare? And what's up with the Indiana Hoosiers with Republican Senator from Indiana, Jim Banks? 3, you got to hear this voicemail from a politician in Montana to state, or U.S. Senator Tim Sheehy. She hopes he gets pancreatic cancer and warns the former Navy SEAL never to see her on the streets of Helena. It is Will Cain Country on this Tuesday, the last day we will be broadcasting to you live from our home studios in Dallas, Texas. The last day this week, I should say, we are broadcasting to you live from our home studios in Dallas, Texas, as tomorrow we head north to New York City for the annual Patriot Awards. We hope you will join us in person in New York City or at Fox Nation for this year's, hosted by Sean Hannity, with several special guests, including some old friends. This year's 2025 Patriot Awards. But it is election day across the country. While all eyes are focused on New York City, many states across the nation give us an indication of where we're headed in the United States. Let's get into it with story number 1. 5 things to watch for on this election day. 1, all eyes, New York City. Communist, Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani leads the race for mayor of New York City. He is an avowed Democrat Socialist. He is in behavior and in policy, in many ways, an undeniable communist. He is without a doubt a shift in America to the most openly socialist/communist politician on the national stage in our lifetimes in America. And yet he is winning by all polling. We'll see how it ends up by the end of today in his race against Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. But Nick Shirley, a social media journalist, took to the streets of New York to ask people if, in fact, they love Zohran Mamdani, what is their favorite socialist country? Is it Cuba? Is it Venezuela? Is it the Soviet Union? Here is Nick Shirley.
Who are you voting for mayor?
I like Cuomo, but I think Mamdani might be pulling the lead a little bit with me.
What's your favorite example of socialism that's worked?
I don't have a big example of it, of socialism.
Like between Venezuela, Cuba, Soviet Union, what's your favorite one?
Man, you put me on the spot. I'm going to have to go Cuba. Man. I'm going to have to go Cuba. Yeah. Let's go there. It's just so complicated for me. I got so much information in my head, but I'm going to go with that.
Do you think Mamdani's the future of the Democratic Party?
I mean, I hope so.
I hope so, says the New York voter that can't quite pull his favorite socialist country. It's like he's being asked what's his favorite Halloween candy or who's going to win the Super Bowl. He treats it with a similar level of seriousness, ultimately settling on Cuba. What you hear there is the best evidence for the failure of American education. And it's because of that that people are capable of voting for Zohran Mamdani when history is quite obvious. History is there for you. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says this has been tried and it has never been worked, what they're about to do in New York.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is here. You know, they're more scared of capitalism than they are of communism. And communism destroyed Venezuela, and it's coming to New York City.
Jesse, it's never worked anywhere before. Give me one example where it's ever worked. It's a thought experiment that always ends in decay, ruin, and the poorest elements of society, they are doing much worse.
It's a great thought experiment. And it is one where Besson ultimately is proven correct. I mean, you take a survey across history and a survey across the globe, and you could take a look at Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua. You could look at various Southeastern Asian countries like Vietnam that have toyed with communism. You can see the suffering of the people. You can see the benefits to the leadership. Interestingly, I think the answer to Besson's question is probably China. I think that the communists would have to point to China being the most successful example of its implementation. They could say it's raised X amount of people out of poverty. Of course, that's come with a cost. The cost is that it's a totalitarian society, one without free speech, without freedom of movement, without real freedom of any sense that we traditionally know, and a permanent political class. No free election, just a continuous march, parade of leaders in China. So ask yourself, is that what you want? And be honest with the American people. Is that where you're headed? We've heard it praised. You've heard China praised in Canada by Justin Trudeau. Is that what we're headed for? Is that the vision? Would Zohran Mamdani look at that and say, I would be very, very fascinated to ask Zohran Mamdani his ideal vision of New York. For that matter, his ideal vision of America. Would it be China? Would it be the Soviet Union? Would it be some half-measure Democrat, socialist, and branding Scandinavian country? Would it be some Muslim country of the Middle East? What is his vision? I would love to know. Paint the picture for me. It's not just free buses, which you can't implement. It's not a public grocery store. What is your vision? Like, give it to us. If you had all the power of Xi Jinping, what would you make it look like in America? Second observation on Election Day is that it's not just Zohran Mamdani in New York City. It's actually happening across the country. The Mamdanis of the Midwest, the Mamdanis of the West. There's a race for mayor in Minneapolis. Jacob Frey famously knelt before the coffin of George Floyd, is being challenged by Omar Fattah, a man who has said he will represent the people of Somalia, our people, our home. Those are Fattah's words. And he's headed in a head-to-head race for Minneapolis mayor with Jacob Frey. Here is Omar Fattah.
Zohran's win was not only making huge waves in New York, but here in Minneapolis and across the country. I think it's important for the Democratic Party going forward to make a decision on what kind of party it wants to be, not only in our local mayor elections that we're seeing, but in the midterms and beyond.
How old is Fattah? Can somebody look that up for me? Is Fattah even 30? He's been on camera waving a Somali flag as he runs for mayor of Minneapolis, which is in Minnesota, which is in the United States of America. And then in further west, Katie Wilson is running for mayor of Seattle. Here's how she self-describes. Katie Wilson says, "Yes, I am a socialist." She's the front-runner to win Seattle's mayor office in November after her primary thumping of incumbent mayor Bruce Harrell last week, self-proclaimed proud socialist. Omar Fattah, by the way, says two-a-days is 35 years old. He's looking good, looking young for 35. I think Omar Fattah could pass for 19, maybe 20, 21. Yeah, really young looking, really young. He hasn't hit those mid-40s slowdown just yet. Wait till you turn 50, Omar. But the Zohran Mamdani effect is everywhere. It's Seattle, it's Minneapolis, it's across this country. And I got to tell you, I think that the only thing keeping this country together, no matter, this is where you are sold such a shallow package of goods when it comes to politics. You are sold the idea that Donald Trump is the most divisive figure in America. I'm here to tell you today that Donald Trump is the only thing keeping this country together. Here's why I tell you that. The only thing that unifies the left at this point is their mutual hatred of Donald Trump. But you take away Donald Trump and you have a full-on battle between the socialists, the moderate Democrats, the wokesters, I don't know what other factions. And the only thing that unifies them right now, the only thing, is their hatred of Donald Trump. He is actually the only thing keeping this thing together. And you could argue the same thing on the right, because you're seeing a balkanization and a fracture on the right. It's true. I'm seeing it happen. A lot of it has to do with Israel. A lot of it has to do with online figures. And I'm telling you, the only thing that's keeping that side of the aisle together as well is a mutual love/fear of Donald Trump. No one wants to be on his bad side. No one wants to be out of step because he has such a finger on the pulse of the mass majority of Americans. But when he moves on, I think you're looking at the complete balkanization of American politics. I think the whole thing as we know it is going to explode. Your left-right continuum, your Democrat-Republican paradigm, it's over, man. And I'm not telling you it's going to be like who's farther left and who's farther. No. You're going to have an incomprehensible, chaotic mix of identitarian politics, ideological stuff, socialism, Islamism, wokeism, anti-Semitism. You're going to have everything, and it's going to be such a jumble that you're not going to know what to. This is what I think is going to happen in a matter of 5 years. That's what I think it's going to look at. And that's what you're seeing already. The groundwork's being laid in these places. You have American cities voting for a socialist. And your normal Democrat has no idea what to do with that. Reports are inside of Washington, D.C., they're not happy about Zohran Mamdani. And then you have the states that are going in the other direction. Texas today, observation number 3 here on Election Day, is set to vote on banning taxes other than income tax, which has already been constitutionalized as against the law in Texas. They're looking to pass a measure to ensure in the future, not get rid of, that we will never have in the future in the state of Texas, capital gains taxes, estate taxes, or certain types of tax securities trades. No taxes outside of property taxes and sales taxes, I guess, in the state of Texas. That's your option. And by the way, if a bunch of New Yorkers, and reports are that maybe as much as 1 million, I have trouble buying this, but 1 million New Yorkers may leave the city if Zohran Mamdani is elected. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said that he will put a tariff on anyone moving into the state of Texas from New York. He posted on X. After the polls close tomorrow night, I will impose a 100% tariff on anyone moving to Texas from New York City. I think it's in jest, but not the tax measures, as you see this nation go in vastly different directions. There are still some states that are somewhat blue. That's our 4th observation tonight. That's New Jersey and Virginia. Jack Ciattarelli, Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, is leading Jack Ciattarelli in that state, but it's a little narrower than it was a few weeks ago. We'll see if that state, which has been blue, can increasingly turn a little more purple. And in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger versus Winsome Earl Sears, and Jason Miyares versus Jay Jones for Attorney General, the man who texted people fantasizing about the death of his political opponents. It'll say a lot about where we're headed in this country. And then finally, 5th observation, in California, they're set to vote on Prop 50, which is a redistricting exception from the independent panel board they have there to approve redistricting, to basically do away with all but, is it 3 seats in the state of California that would be Republican. The rest would be Democrat. Gavin Newsom's pushing for this redistricting fight. He says he's doing it in response to the state of Texas. If they want this war, they'll lose this war. If every state redistricts, we've done this, we know the math, it comes out with Republicans something like +5, +8 seats if done across the country. But Gavin Newsom doesn't do anything for actual effect. He does everything for show. That's where he has them headed in California. That's 5 things to watch for by the end of today. California, Texas, New Jersey, Virginia, Minnesota, Seattle, and New York City. Let's talk about this and more with Indiana Senator Jim Banks when we return on Will Cain Country. What do they really think of Zohran Mamdani inside of D.C.? What are the thoughts of Democrats? It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, the Fox News Facebook page, but always available by following on Spotify and Apple. Jim Banks is the Republican senator from the great state of Indiana, and he joins us now. First of all, congratulations, Senator. Let's just take a moment. I mean, what a year for Indiana. I mean, this is you.
Need an
you
Indiana,
know, you're a Hoosier, right?
There in your collection, Will.
I usually I'm not putting the pressure on you, but some of these are, if I don't have a natural affiliation, they're donated. Like I actually have a natural aversion to this one, but your fellow senator from Oklahoma sent it in, so it made its way to the table. So I guess I need one because of the football powerhouse that is Indiana.
Who would have ever thought, right? I mean, Indiana basketball school. I went to school there in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was there in the dark days when they fired Bobby Knight, and the basketball program hasn't been the same since. And Will, when I was a student at Indiana University, the football team was so bad they gave free season tickets to every student who lived in a dorm just to get somebody to come to the stadium to watch them play on Saturdays. So we've come a long ways with Coach Signetti and Fernando Mendoza, who's going to win the Heisman this year, undefeated. We're gonna beat the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten championship here the first weekend in December. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, you're rolling people by 50, and you're keeping Coach Signetti, which is incredible that he's not headed off to Penn State or somewhere else. He's going to stay a Hoosier. It was something I was going to ask you about Indiana on this before we moved. Oh, 90s. That's when you were there. Let me think. Calbert Cheney? Would that have been like a
little bit before me? We did have Antoine Randall L. Antoine Randall L. gave us a little bit of excitement on the football field.
Yeah.
Went on to play for the Steelers. And as far as basketball goes, they fired Bobby Knight, and then the following season, the Hoosiers went to the championship game in Atlanta and lost to Maryland that season. I think we would have won another national championship if we would have kept Coach Knight and the Hoosiers together.
Who was the stud on that basketball team? I'm trying to remember.
Well, there really wasn't one. I mean, it was there were just a bunch of guys that stuck around that Bobby Knight recruited, and you had Dane Fife and my friend Kirk Haston, who's now a Republican state representative in Tennessee. He left a year early after they fired Bobby Knight. If he would have stuck around, there's no way they would have lost in that championship game. So I rub that in with him every chance I get.
Well, what a year to be a Hoosier. What a year. Okay, what a year to be a Democrat as well. There are rumblings that in Washington, D.C., and I don't know what your relationships are like across the aisle. I don't know if you're in the cloakroom having a martini with Chuck Schumer, what your relationships are across the aisle. But the rumors are, at least, if not reports, they're actually not that happy about the rise of Zohran Mamdani.
I think that's right. I mean, I haven't talked to Democrats specifically about it, but this is bad for their party. It's good for Republicans. I mean, it's good for Indiana. If you don't want to live in a liberal socialist hellhole like New York City, it's going to get even worse on Mamdani's on his watch after he wins tonight. Move to Indiana. Bring your jobs to Indiana. We have low cost of living. We've consistently ranked as one of the best states to do business and to raise a family. And New York keeps if you didn't think New York could get dirtier or worse or more unsafe than what it already is, elect this guy who's anti-police and totally embraces a socialist ideology to be the mayor of New York City, and that's going to be good for the heartland. It's going to be good for places like Texas and Indiana when people come to their senses and get out of New York City and go somewhere else to work and raise their kids.
Senator, is that right? You said I haven't talked to a lot of my Democrat colleagues. I mean, I had Speaker Johnson on the show yesterday, and he referenced Hakeem Jeffries as a friend, and that they have a good working relationship and they have deep disagreements and all of that. But we do hear more and more that the days of like a collegiate battle, collegiality, friendships, it's almost passed by. That there's not a lot of crossing the aisle, even in social situations. I'm just curious, is that the way it is in Senate? Or are there just some guys that are just dudes? I know you're a Democrat, but you're kind of a dude, and I see you at the basketball court or at the country club to play golf or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I don't know, Will. I mean, we don't do a lot of socializing. I didn't come to Washington to socialize with Republican senators either, and frankly, some of the squishy Republican senators who disappoint me more than the Democrats sometimes. But they don't. They're not tipping their hand. They know that Mamdani is a problem for their party. He's a problem for their brand. They know they have many of them know they have a broken Democrat brand. I grew up in a union Democrat household. My dad is a retired union factory worker that voted like the union bosses tell him to for the working class Democrat Party most of his life until Donald Trump came down the escalator. My dad is now a Trump Republican. So the Democrats know they're going to keep losing elections because they've lost the working class vote in this country because they no longer represent those men and women who work hard and work on the factory floor, or work in mechanics or plumbers, or these hardworking men and women who make America great. They don't vote for Democrats anymore. And one of the reasons they don't vote for them is because these Democrats are full-throated socialist. They've embraced the wacky trans agenda and so many other agendas that don't fit with what those working class voters like my dad believe in. So what's going to happen in New York City tonight is it's going to further propel that reality that Democrats don't represent real people anymore. And I think as bad as that is for New York City, I like to go to New York City maybe sometimes and get in and out in a day, but I don't want to stay there for very long. And I think what's going to happen tonight, you're going to elect a mayor that's going to make the city even worse. It's going to smell worse. It's going to be even less safe than what it already is. Drive up taxes and drive out jobs of what was once the greatest city in the world. And that just means more people coming to places of common sense like Indiana and Texas and red states in the heartland. And I'm not altogether against that.
Well, I want to stay on this idea, though. You didn't go to D.C. to make friends, but we're now at day 35. It's the longest shutdown, I believe, now in American history. And excuse me. And you need five? You need 5 Democrats more than what right now have committed to reopening the government. And I think that what you're describing is certainly true on the average, that the Democrats have gone too far in embracing this far left socialist, woke, identitarian politics. But I just have trouble with the idea that there's not 5 who look at this. There's no doubt that Republicans are passing a clean CR and Democrats are choosing not to continue to fund the government. That's the facts. That's just the facts. And you would think there's 5 Democrats that go, you know what? This isn't the best way to conduct politics. It's not the best way to try to get what we want. And it's totally abnormal as well. No one does. Republicans, to be fair, Republicans have tried in the past, and it didn't work out for Republicans. So, I'm just kind of, what's going to happen? Are there going to be 5 reasonable Democrats that step up at some point? Is it after these elections they'll feel more comfortable reopening the government? Where do you find the 5 Democrats you need to reopen the government?
As I sat in the chair just a few minutes ago, Will, we closed the vote on the 14th time that we voted to reopen the government and pass the short-term, clean, continuing resolution. I remind people every time I talk about it that Chuck Schumer just voted for the same CR back in March earlier this year. He voted for exactly what the Democrats are shutting down the government for the 14th time yet today. I don't think being nice to the Democrats, though, is going to win them over to being friendly and trying to negotiate with them and give in or give them something in the deal is going to win them over. It's going to be at the end of the day, it's going to be the political pressure. I mean, I don't know if you just saw that Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, my former colleague in the House, just announced that because of all of the air traffic controller issues and TSA agent issues due to the shutdown, they might have to shut down air travel in big parts of the country next week. I mean, that's the reality of what the Democrats have caused in this country is a total mess. And don't forget that it was reported a couple of weeks ago that a senior Democrat Senate staffer on the floor of the Senate said out loud that we're going to keep the government shut down until planes start falling from the sky. I mean, that's how crazy these Democrats are, that they're playing.
Who said that?
They're playing a very dangerous game.
Planes
with
falling from the sky?
American people through the shutdown. I mean, that's what they believe because they hate Donald Trump. And when I talk about not coming here to socialize with these, how can you be friends with a Democrat colleague on the other side of the aisle who hates Donald Trump so much that he wants to that he or she wants to screw the people in this country by shutting down the government and all of the ramifications that come with that. Well, I served in the military. I wore the uniform. And right now, I'm thinking about those young sailors, those enlisted sailors, 23 years old, probably on a base in somewhere like Norfolk, Virginia, and they got babies at home that they're trying to feed and a wife and trying to make ends meet. And you got these Democrats shutting down the government and literally playing with their lives of these young service members. So enough is enough. You're right. We need five Democrats to come to their senses and tell Chuck Schumer to go pound sand and come and vote alongside Republicans to reopen the government. But there's no signs of that today. We just closed the vote, and the vote is exactly the same today as it was 4 or 5 weeks ago. Only a few Democrats joining Republicans, 55 votes, need 5 more to come on board. And outside of political pressure from the Democrat base telling them to give it up, which they're getting. I mean, the public sector, the government unions are telling the Democrats to give it up. I mean, that's the biggest source of funding for Democrats in this country are the government unions, and they're telling the Democrats that it's past time to give this up. It's bad for the people that supported the Democrats to begin with. So it's going to take a lot more of that to push Democrats to come to their senses and do the right thing.
Who was that senior Democrat you talked about? Said planes falling out of the sky. Who was that?
It was a Democrat staffer. It's been widely reported. There's not. It wasn't. It was reported in print that this staffer was heard saying that, and you can find that online. But I think that's what these Democrats really believe. I mean, they want to cause as much pain and chaos because Donald Trump is in the White House. They want this to be they want this to be chaotic. They want people to be hurt in the process, and that's I think that one quote sums it up pretty well of what they really believe.
Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, Representative Roger Williams put it out. It's reported at Gateway Pundit. Democrats say they won't end Schumer's shutdown until planes are falling out of the sky. This is 53% of flight delays, putting millions of passengers at risk, and pilots from Southwest, NetJets, and other unions are now calling for a clean CR. Let's talk about, well, one of the things the Democrats are fighting for is they want the subsidies for Obamacare to continue, the temporary subsidies. Meantime, the Trump administration started to put together this list of illegal immigrants receiving Medicaid. We hear a lot from Democrats that's not happening. This is an anecdotal list of at least 8 that we can see here, confirmed illegal immigrants on Medicaid. And it's something that I want to bring up with you today and talk about is how much of these welfare benefits are actually going to people that should not be receiving them. And it's not just Medicaid. We've begun the conversation here on both of our shows about SNAP benefits. You know, we have the stats that show 50% of households headed by an illegal immigrant are receiving food welfare. Now, SNAP, and to the extent that it's funded, and it looks like right now about half of it's going to be funded, is a political football. It's one, meaning it's a leverage and blame tool right now. Democrats say it's Republicans' fault. Republicans are saying you're the one shutting down the government, so you're the one causing SNAP. But I do think that the deeper conversation is SNAP being used. 42 million Americans, 1 in 8, 12% of the population on food welfare, and who knows how much of that is going to illegal immigrants?
Yeah, we don't know. I'm glad the administration is highlighting these cases because Democrats say that this doesn't happen, and it obviously certainly does happen. That you have illegals who are getting SNAP benefits, who are getting Medicaid, the abuse in these systems. Well, there are certainly many Hoosiers who are on hard times that are eligible for SNAP, who should receive it. Right now that's at risk because of the Schumer shutdown. So Chuck Schumer is causing the pain for those people who really do need it. But Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have shut down the government, and they're arguing for health care for illegals and many of these welfare benefits for illegals. That's who they really care about, instead of those working class voters that we were talking about a little bit ago, those people who pay taxes and work hard and that these benefits are designed for. But you know what it reminds me of, Will, as I see stories like this, it reminds me of that debate back in the 2020 election where I forget who the moderator was, asked the Democrats to raise their hand if you support free health care for illegal immigrants. And remember, every Democrat raised their hand. Every single Democrat, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they all raised their hand because that's what this is what they believe, because the radical base of the Democrat Party, the socialist, radical, out of touch, wacky, woke base of the Democrat Party, they do strongly favor handouts for illegals, free health care for illegals. They will screw everybody else in this country like they are right now with this shutdown to fight for free health care for illegals. I just think I think it's crazy. It's just crazy. And the longer that they believe that and hold on to those beliefs, the better I feel about J.D. Vance winning in 2028 and Republicans keeping the majority in 2026 because these Democrats are so crazy.
Do you think that's a foregone conclusion, Senator? I mean, you said it that way, so it seems that to be the case, that it's J.D. Vance in 2028?
I'm all for JD. I don't know who can beat him. And if you pair him up with Marco Rubio and have a Vance Rubio ticket, they're unstoppable. And if the Democrats don't figure out how to cleanse themselves of the socialist stench that you're going to see even more of tonight with Mamdani and other wacky Democrats winning primaries in 2026, if they can't find a way to cleanse themselves of that and shake off that out-of-touch base that's winning the primaries and all their elections, 2026 and 2028 are going to continue to be great years for Republicans.
To the point of illegal immigrants, I mean, Mamdani is saying that he wants New York to continue to be a sanctuary city. Your point is well taken about that 2020 debate when they all raised their hands for free health care for illegal immigrants. AOC is out front about that, continuing to say it. And then you've got not just the Medicaid and SNAP issue, but you've got this, and it's something I've been particularly interested in, and we've covered it a lot on our show. And I'm going to tell you how this starts for me, Senator. Honestly, it starts with people telling me. I started hearing this. Hey, do you realize how dangerous our highways are? Like, there's these guys all over the road, and you have to tell your kids to be careful when they're driving, because you've got these guys driving these big rigs that have no idea what they're doing. And in your home state, I think it was 120 illegal immigrants arrested. Some high percentage of them, you probably have the numbers better than I do, had CDLs, commercial driver's license issued. And I assume a good amount of those were from California. New York is given the no-name license. So my producer says 146 arrested. Was it 146 arrested in Indiana? And a bunch of those guys driving with CDLs.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And just right up the road from where I live. Remember, Indiana is the crossroads of America. I mean, we're known logistically as a place. We have a lot of semis on the road because of where we're located, right in the heartland of the country. So you think about that and what that means for safety on the roads. I mean, it's terrifying, Will, but I've got a 16-year-old who's got her driver's permit, and I have to go ride around in the car with her. She has to get so many hours of time in the car with an adult, and we're driving on these highways, and she's learning how to drive, and you see these semis everywhere, and they're not safe. So this is a matter that hits close to home for a lot of people. And then you smell, Indiana, fortunately, is not a state that's legalized drugs, but you smell, you pull up next to some of these semis sometimes with some of these drivers, and you smell marijuana and drugs out the window at a stoplight, and then the CDL licenses that are given to some of these illegals. I'm glad that my state's cracking down on it. Governor Mike Braun, our new governor, one of the first things that he did was sign an executive order that said the Indiana State Police are going to assist the federal government in deporting illegals and cracking down on some of these types of activities. But not every state is like Indiana and Texas. There are a lot of states out there with weak Republican leaders or Democrat leaders. And in fact, to that point, 21 blue states refusing to give up numbers of illegals on Medicaid, while 29 red states are cooperating with the federal government. I mean, it really comes down to what kind of leadership you have in your state. And in Indiana, we have rock solid leadership, but we're right next door to Illinois, You got bad leadership in Michigan and some of these states, and you don't have states that are putting the interests of their people first, like we do in the Hoosier state.
Senator, you've mentioned this twice, so I do want to follow up with you. You talk about weak Republican leadership, both in the Senate and at some of the state level. You know, I'm not asking you necessarily, you can if you want, to throw any individual under the bus or to give me an illustration by a person, but what do you see as weak Republican leadership right now?
Well, let me start with, you know, I got elected to the House back in 2016 with President Trump, and what a big difference between the leadership that we had in the House and the Senate back in 2017 when I was a freshman, and what we have today in Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson. We have strong, in that regard, Will, be very clear, we have strong leadership in both chambers who are aligned with President Trump and working with President Trump. Back in 2017, 2018, we had Republican leaders who were working against President Trump, and that's made a big difference in our ability to do things like, with the narrow Republican majorities, getting things like the big beautiful bill passed and backing up President Trump on mass deportations and securing the border. I guess what I was talking about earlier, though. I mean, you serve with some of your colleagues who aren't willing to back up President Trump on some of the big nominations, like some of the holdouts who didn't want Pete Hegseth to be confirmed. By the way, he's been phenomenal as our Secretary of War. But you had some Republicans at the time who wanted to hold back. They didn't want to support him for whatever reason. And what I'm talking about is my disappointment in times like that. I mean, what a big difference a big divide between the way that Democrats fight. I mean, if Democrats had control today, they would do away with the filibuster. They would pack the courts. They would make Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico states so they had more Democrat senators to give themselves permanent power. And then we have a hard time even passing a rescissions bill in the Senate that would cut $9 billion. We had a hard time even passing that. And it took J.D. Vance, the vice president, breaking tie votes in some of these cases. So we still have a few weak-kneed Republicans in the Senate, but it's a lot different than it was back in 2017, 2018.
What do you think of doing away with the filibuster? President Trump has suggested that pretty strongly to Majority Leader Thune. He's rejected that idea. Again, I spoke with the Speaker, Mike Johnson, and it's a Senate issue, but I asked his opinion of it, and he's against it. He says he's voiced that opinion to President Trump on doing away with the filibuster. Where are you on that?
Well, you got if you're going to do away with the filibuster, especially when it comes to a spending issue like I completely understand why the president is upset, and I'm upset too, because we have a broken process with the way this place works, that we got a 53-seat Republican majority and we can't reopen the government. Something just as basic as a short-term spending bill. You know, I can see a case where you change the rules to address that. But if we're gonna get rid of the filibuster, we know the Democrats want to get rid of it. If we're gonna get rid of the filibuster, then give me a reason to get rid of it, like balance the budget. You know, that would be a reason to get rid. For me, would be a reason to get rid of the filibuster. We have a $38 trillion national debt today. We spend more on the interest of our debt today than we spend on the entire budget of our Pentagon. I mean, that's how out of control spending is. So if you're going to do away with the filibuster on spending bills, then take the 53 Republican seat majority that we have in the Senate and give me a long-term balanced budget. I'll take that deal any day.
So it's kind of interesting. So you're talking about limiting the filibuster to issues not involving government spending, continuing a resolution. Wouldn't the trick then be that every time we pass a spending measure, it's just chock full of other measures? It's chock full of other things as well. So, you know, say the Democrats want to expand the number of justices on the Supreme Court. As I hear you, that would still be subjected to the filibuster. But a spending bill might be able to simple majority. But they have a way of packaging all that into one.
Yeah, they do it already anyway. But you would have, just like you do on the reconciliation process. By the way, we have more bites at the apple of reconciliation, which has to be limited to spending. I mean, the reconciliation process that we use on the big beautiful bill,
right,
that allowed us to pass it with with 50 votes with the vice president breaking the tie. The reason that reconciliation works is because it's entirely limited, with the parliamentarian playing that sometimes in a frustrating way, playing that referee role, what's spending and what's policy.
Right.
I mean, I think you could find ways to reform the filibuster to make the institution work better. And I agree with President Trump. We should be having that conversation because we know that the next time the Democrats get power, they're going to nuke the filibuster and use it to do all those things that you just mentioned. And that's one reason why we got to make sure that they don't win elections and never get power either. And the best way to stop Democrats from winning is for Republicans to do what we said we were going to do, and fulfill the mandate that the voters gave President Trump and Republicans. And that's why President Trump is frustrated. And I totally understand that.
All right, one last question for you. This headline caught our attention. It's from NBC News. I wanted to ask you this. It says Trump administration is planning new mission in Mexico against cartels, current and former U.S. officials say. The subhead reads, the new operation would include U.S. troops on the ground in Mexico striking drug labs and cartel leaders, according to current and former U.S. officials, though a deployment is not imminent. So U.S. troops on the ground in Mexico going after cartels. Would that be something you support, Senator?
Yeah, I support President Trump doing everything that he's already doing, everything that he can to stop illegal drugs from being trafficked into our country. By the way, I dismiss NBC News as some kind of authority on, I don't get classified briefings from NBC News for good reason. So I quickly dismiss this story because of where it's coming from. But President Trump taking out these drug boats and going after the cartels. That's what I voted for. That's what Hoosiers voted for. They voted for this president to secure the border and stop flooding our country with illegal drugs, fentanyl, the leading cause of death of Americans my age, of working and military age in this country, and go to war with the cartels to do it. I fully support it. And President Trump has Article 2 authorities as commander-in-chief to protect the homeland. So he's already got the authority to do that. Now, does that mean that he's sending troops into Mexico? Again, I dismiss the story. Obviously, a lot would have to happen before President Trump does that. But let's do everything that we can. We've got the most powerful military in the history of the world, and the least we can do is take out these cartels and hold them accountable for what they've done to our country.
All right, Senator Jim Banks of Indiana. We appreciate all the time. I'll look for that Hoosier helmet.
Go Hoosiers.
All right. Thanks, Senator. There you go. Senator Jim Banks here today on Will Cain Country. Speaking of senators, Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana, he's a former Navy SEAL, received a voicemail from a local politician in Montana. You got to hear it. I've got it for you. I'm going to play it for you. It's shocking when we come back on Will Cain Country. Don't meet me in the streets, says the lady with the Native American themed gift shop in Montana to the former Navy SEAL, now Senator. I've got the voicemail. It is Will Cain Country, streaming live at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, but also available by following us on Spotify or on Apple. This week, starting on Thursday, is the annual Patriot Awards. This is the 7th annual Patriot Awards. It's hosted by Sean Hannity. It's Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Nation. It will feature First Lady Melania Trump, Jason Aldean, Erica Kirk, and many, many more. It's going to be an incredible night. There are limited tickets, but they are still available. Just go to foxnation.com/Patriot Awards. We hope to see you there. I will be there. As I imagine will be Shane Henderson. He's the co-founder and president of Metal Art of Wisconsin. And he makes the actual award, the Patriot Award. And there he is. What's up, Shane?
How's it going, Will?
Surrounded by metal art, surrounded by American flags. Is that the Patriot Award right there to your left?
Yes, this is the Patriot Award, spinning 360 degrees. Are you aware of the materials used to make this?
No, tell me about it.
Okay, so it's spinning on a pedestal here. So this is our most ambitious. I mean, every year we do the Patriot Award. This is our 3rd year doing it. We always leapfrog what we did last year. And last year we used 9/11 steel and hand forged it down. and it was like the greatest thing we've ever done. I didn't think we'd be able to beat it. So when we were asked to do the Patriot Awards this year, we brought it to a whole nother level, using historical artifacts that kind of go along with the 250th anniversary of America. So the flag itself is a 12-inch chunk of maple. It's CNC machined. It's 100%. It's three-dimensional. You can see it's spinning. It's where a lot of our other flags just kind of sit on the wall and they got waves on them. This one is a super ambitious CNC program. So the commemorative stripe in the middle here. Here, I'll stop it from spinning. Right there. So you see the wood stripe in the middle there? That's elm from George Washington's elm tree.
Really?
Yep. And then the flagpole is infused with nails from Trinity Church. That's the church in New York City that George Washington went to that burned down in 1776. And 1775, 250 years ago from this year, is when the first bullets of the Revolutionary War were fired. And that's what I have here, are Revolutionary War musket balls. So Justice, my son, and I got a whole bunch of these artifacts from all these historians, collectors all over the United States. We got certificates of authenticity of all these. We took these musket balls and we melted them down and we poured them into, we have, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we have this male and female mold. So we poured the molten lead into the form, and we formed each star. And we have, I can't reveal how many we have, but I basically inlaid 800 stars one at a time into the union of each award. Painful, painful.
40. So 40. You can't reveal that there's 40 Patriot Awards.
Yeah.
I can do math, Shane.
Yeah, I guess so. So that's it. So the base is it's a solid chunk of maple. We've got some UV printed steel plates on there to make it look like it's a solid chunk of marble. But yeah, it's been an absolute labor of love.
It's awesome. Where do you get the artifacts? I know you said Trinity Church and the elm from George Washington's tree, and then the musket balls as well. But how do you go about that? Like, how do you get the nails from Trinity Church?
So, I mean, just everyone knows who Justice and I are, kind of in that circle. Like the whole patriotic group of Fox, viewers love what we do. And I reached out to some historians and collectors and told them the project that they were doing, and they were like, absolutely, yes. So a guy from Long Island had a whole bag of these nails, and he's like, can you use these? And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Yes, absolutely. So I was like, all right. He sent me like hundreds of them with certificates of authenticity, and I'm like, do you want these back? And he's like, what you and your son do is awesome. We've been fans for a long time. So what we did, we actually designed I don't know if you can see it here. So we have a new line of flags on our website, freedomcabinet.com, and they're artifact flags. So I don't know if you can see here. So this is a flag that has an actual Trinity Church nail on it that you can purchase on our website. And we have, here's another one that we have with an actual piece of wood from George Washington's elm tree, because we got a pretty sizable chunk. So we veneer the wood onto a little plaque here, and we put it on the flag so you can actually own it. And then the one behind me, you can't really see it in the camera too much, but there's one behind me that is Abraham Lincoln. We have a nice sized chunk of wood from Ford Theater where he was assassinated. So we veneer it out and we put it on little chunks of wood, and you can, what a unique gift to give, any patriot.
Yeah.
That's,
this is awesome stuff. Metal Arts of Wisconsin, by the way.
Yep.
Freedom Cabinet is what Shane does. Shane, what's the Patriot Award way? I may have to hold that up here in a couple of days.
You know what? I don't know. I can't even believe I haven't weighed it, but it's heavy. It
looks heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It looks heavy.
This is billet aluminum. and it's got steel plates all around it, and the flag is, I mean, it's solid. I mean, it's definitely a couple pounds, probably 2-3 pounds, I'm sure.
It is beautiful, Shane. This is the best looking one I think you've done yet. I mean, I'm looking
I think
at
so.
it. I haven't seen it in person yet, but
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's beautiful.
This is like next level. My team, we worked with a world-renowned wood carver named Patrick Burke. Huge shout out to my lead engineer, Jason Bell. I mean, these guys pulled, all-nighters because, we don't get a whole year to make these things. We find out, not too long ago that we're going to do it, and we have to, get all the materials, get all the people together, make a plan, get the renderings. And there's a lot that goes into it. Order all these artifacts from all over the country. It's like directing traffic. It's like, herding cats trying to, get all this done. And we're talking down to the wire. These things were, I every year I load these into my truck from Wisconsin and I drive to New York and I hand deliver them. Just can't trust that a package isn't going to get lost or damaged. I mean, they're too precious to not make it here for the award. So I loaded my whole back seat full of these, paint still wet, drying in the back of my truck, back seat, and drove straight through to Manhattan to hand deliver them. So it's an awesome honor.
Are you in studio right now?
Yeah.
Are you in the studios in New York right now? Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that is awesome looking thing. Whoever gets those, whatever recipients here on Thursday night, they're going to be proud to set that up on their mantle or on their table, wherever they hope to place it. Because I mean that genuinely. That is an awesome looking award. And Shane, we appreciate everything you do for the Patriot Awards and otherwise. And everybody can check out your stuff at Metalworks of Wisconsin. There's all kinds of stuff that I have several pieces in my office, in my home.
I was going to say, I think we got to get you a bigger flag because I see my flag on your show every day. That little tiny 2-footer. We got to get you a big 8-footer to hang back there.
I know which one you're talking about.
I'll send it out there to you.
Right above the bumper pool table.
Yep.
That's right, Shane. Well, we appreciate you, and I'll see you in a couple days. Thank you, Shane.
All right, bud. Talk to you later.
All right, Shane Henderson, he's the co-founder and president of Metal Arts of Wisconsin. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you tune in on Thursday night for the Fox Nation Patriot Awards. All right, Haley McKnight is a politician in Montana. She is she is a commissioner, city commissioner candidate in Montana's capital city of Helena. Several weeks ago, she left a voicemail for United States Senator Tim Sheehy, Republican. After it was revealed a couple of weeks ago, she left it after Republicans passed the One Big Beautiful Bill. And this is what she had to say to Senator Sheehy.
Hi, this is Haley McKnight. I'm a constituent in Helena, Montana, and I just wanted to let you know that you are the most insufferable kind of coward and thief. You just stripped away health care for 17 million Americans, and I hope you're really proud of that. I hope that one day you get pancreatic cancer and it spreads throughout your body so fast that they can't even treat you for it. I hope that you die in the street like a dog. One day you're going to live to regret this. I hope that your children never forgive you. I hope that you are infertile. I hope you never manage to do it ever again. You are the worst piece of I've ever had the misfortune of looking at.
Oof. I hope you get prostate cancer. I hope you suffer from infertility. I hope you die in the street like a dog, standing there. Picture of her you got there 2 days is in front of her LGBTQ flag. This is my favorite part, 2 days in tinfoil. Haley McKnight is from North Carolina, now living and working in Montana, and she owns a small business called Sage and Oats Trading Post. It describes itself as, quote, a successful Native American-owned gift store. I was like, who's the Native American involved in this? Is it Haley McKnight? She looks like a typical
justice warrior,
white woman who runs the Morningstar design business, in addition to, I guess, her Native American-owned gift store. And she also got the Helena Chamber of Commerce's 20 under 40. So here's this woman, white liberal woman, threatening from behind the walls of her quote-unquote Native American gift store,
You'll live to
Sage and
regret
Oats,
this.
the United States Senator, former Navy SEAL Tim Sheehy. We've said this. Do you think it could be the case that white women are the problem?
Yeah. I mean, I hope my wife's not watching, but, you know.
That's the problem, Dan. You're afraid.
I know.
You're
I'm
afraid.
Dude, I am terrified of her and her friends. You have no idea.
What are they going to do? Leave you a voicemail like that? Because she says she doesn't want to see Tim Sheehy in the streets. What is she going to do? What is she going to do in the streets to the former Navy SEAL? That is a. She's going to talk. She's going to berate him. He's going to die of fatigue.
She's going to call someone's manager. Should call the police and they're going to help him.
You know, what kind of bubble do you have to live in where you physically threaten a man who is most probably a killer? I don't know if Tim Sheehy, I'm sure he saw combat. He's a Navy SEAL, and she's walking around physically threatening him. Like, what kind of bubble is she living in? She has never had to face the world that she seeks. She seeks this world
That's the
of
problem.
revolution, of confrontation, of violence. She seeks it. With a Navy SEAL, she seeks her own demise. I don't know if that... Does she know that?
They'll talk a big talk. They're all
does she-
soft.
He definitely was in combat, by the way.
I mean, it's not...
Got a bullet in the arm. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's been shot in the arm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the timeline of his service suggests he definitely was in combat. So, yeah, of course. This is just incredible. Yeah. It's incredible because Democrats are increasingly talking violent and revolutionary and you know, insanity. But it's just incredible that this mindset exists. This woman whose self-righteousness is so heightened that she not only has the moral high ground, but she has the physical high ground on Tim Sheehy. Go ahead, 2 days.
And you're talking about in the beginning of the show, Mom Donnie and the new Democratic Party and all this. This is the problem. They need an image facelift because this type of stuff is turning people away from what they want and what they think, and they're going to have a serious problem in years to come.
You know, I think that's not going to happen. There will be no facelift. There will be no self-correction.
But they need one. They need a PR team.
It's over. The world of LBJ versus Richard Nixon is over. The world of Republicans and Democrats, this two-team sport, it's over. I believe this. We are headed toward balkanization. And people like Haley McKnight have a place. I don't think it's going to be a large place, but they will have a place, a continuing place in the American political dialogue. I believe it. And I think, by the way, the right's going to balkanize too. Yep. I think Donald Trump is keeping this country together. And I don't know what that looks like. If we were in a parliamentary system, I think it would be more easy to reconcile because you can see that in other countries in Europe where you have these parties that get, you know, these small coalitions and they have, 5 to 10 representatives in parliament. I don't know how it's going to work in a two-party system, but I don't know how you bring everybody together.
How do you come together with a person like her?
Explosion.
How do you come together with a person like her?
Ask Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know. Ask Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know. Ask Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's trying to figure that out right now. That's why there's a government shutdown. He's trying to figure that out right now. Like, how do I live in a world where AOC is so popular?
Yeah.
That lady loves AOC, by the way.
Loves
You know
AOC.
that lady loves AOC.
And the squad.
I think Scott Adams says it right when he talks about the seeing two movies on the same or two different movies on the same screen, and like people are just we're living in two different realities, even though we're sharing the same reality.
It's because we've created
like you yesterday thinking that was a catch in Florida, Georgia. We're looking at the same.
It was not a catch. I saw
two
it.
Different realities.
I just saw a different angle. Not a catch.
It was a catch.
It's a catch.
It was definitely.
This is the black and blue dress, white and gold dress, question right here of our time.
Or reality and non-reality.
Did you guys hear about this lady? Is this in Los Angeles that went to a gym? She noticed a trans dude in the locker room, and she went bananas about it. She's like, basically, I don't really know how to say it in the right way. There's a big appendage swinging around the locker room, in the women's locker room, and it's not cool. And she got kicked out of the gym membership. She did.
What a world.
Not the swinging appendage. Here's the lady.
Go gym! Men! Grown men with big in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know.
There's a grown man with big you-know-whats in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. She got kicked out of the gym membership.
How dare you not be inclusive?
That was a black woman, by the way. Jacked black woman.
Shredded.
That woman needs to see Haley McKnight. That's the woman that needs to confront Haley McKnight. What a world. What a world. How dare you notice the ding-dong in the women's locker room? How dare you be upset about it? You're out of here. I'm offended that you saw that thing and didn't like it. It wasn't, just to be clear, it wasn't just a dude. It was a dude dressed up as a woman. It was a dude being a woman, you know, self-identifying.
It was just Halloween, so, you
know. Maybe it was a costume.
Yeah.
It always is a costume, Dan. It always is a costume.
Hey,
Finally, I went to the Cowboys game. Last night. It was awful. Cowboys, Cardinals. Can I just say once again, I try to walk through the world with a certain level of gratefulness. So here you go, Jerry. AT&T is an awesome stadium, and it's 20 years old. It is such an awesome stadium. Like, I mean, boys, I don't think either of you been there. It's hard to explain. It's so comfortable. You're never doing the whole, like, swim and fish against stream thing. It's full. There's plenty of elbow room when you're walking down the corridors. Good food options. Not big lines to get a beer. Not big lines, because there's so many different little things everywhere. And, then there's clubs, and the clubs aren't that exclusive where you can go in and you feel like you're in a hotel lobby.
Like,
that's what you feel like you're in, but yet the game's right there. Yeah, right, Ed. A high-star hotel lobby. Yeah, not like the art's amazing. It's not like you're walking into a Novotel. You're walking into, like, I don't know about a Ritz, but it's up there, okay? A Marriott, Ed says. And then you walk in to the front doors, and I love this. There's seating everywhere, but there's this huge opening. Huge. It's like it's open air, but it's not. It's a dome, and you're just right there. You could just walk right up and watch the game. You don't have to go to your seat, and you're going to have a good view. You can just stand there.
But you have to watch
at
the
entrance
Cowboys
and watch the game. Man, that's what I turned to my friend last night, and I go, everything in here is awesome except for what's on the field. It's like, and it was horrific on the field. It was embarrassing, and they got booed. And I just have to wonder if Jerry ever looks at that and goes, my God, look at everything I've built. But the center of it is rotten. The thing at the center on the field is rotten. And the people, this is like the Roman Colosseum. The people are throwing tomatoes at the gladiators. The fight is not good. The only good...
Wait a minute. There was a fight? Because it looked like a high school game.
There was no fight. Yeah, there was no fight. That's exactly right.
The
That defense, the Cowboys defense is the worst looking one I've ever seen. The worst looking defense I've ever seen. The only exciting thing was Brandon Aubrey, our best player, the kicker, going out for a 68-yard field goal. Skip Bayless had tweeted this. He said, congrats to Cam Little, the Jacksonville Jaguars kicker, for his record 68-yard field goal, though it now doesn't seem like it's quite a big deal considering Brandon Aubrey will soon hit from 70. Now, Brandon Aubrey had a 68-yard attempt last night to tie the record, and he missed it. Patrick, you're such a homer.
Wow.
Like,
So
because you're a Jags fan. You're like the only Jags fan in America. The only Jags fan in America. Like, you could fill up a single-seat stadium. Yeah, okay, what, there's 6 others? You guys,
six
the
of us,
Jags
yeah.
fan club, yeah, you get together, 4 of them makes a quorum for a Jags fan meeting. And you're going to be all puffing your chest out about Cam Little? That's what we're doing? And you're gloating about Brandon Aubrey missing a 68-yarder?
Hey, we got 2 major records right now. We have the largest playoff win in NFL history, and now we have the longest field goal. And we're gonna brag about it while we can.
And you have a quarterback with the longest hair.
Yeah, he needs to get it cut. He's a little bit of a reverse Samson situation.
I hope that Brian Schottenheimer, Cowboys coach, doesn't look at what happened last night and go, well, I'm not going to give Aubrey a 70-yard attempt, because there is no doubt that dude can hit from 70.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, somebody will, if not Aubrey.
Yeah.
Somebody else will.
I want to see a 75-yarder.
It's going to happen this season. And I will say that was at the end of the half, and the Cowboys got the kickoff with, I think it was like 50 seconds left, and they drove the ball. They got the ball after the kickoff. They drove the ball 15 yards. That's it. 15 yards. And you're like, well, okay, we're in field goal range. And it was exciting. I had something to be excited about. Come on, guys. Get to the 48. Your 48, not their 48.
It will get boring.
Just get to your 48.
It will get boring eventually. If that keeps happening and you got kickers who kick 70-yarders, it doesn't matter any plays you do or how far you get down the field. You'll just kick 3.
I think it's going to be awesome. I think that's actually a great development for the NFL.
Really?
Because I think Patrick, yes, because there's a risk reward there. Even though they can kick a 68 or a 70-yarder, it's still not a high percentage thing. Yeah. Like, look at Aubrey last night. He missed 68.
True.
And the cost of missing is great. The field position you turn over to the other team is, I mean, you could be attempting a 70-yarder, miss, and the other team could immediately attempt about a 45, 50-yarder from there, right?
Yeah. That's wild.
Like, you could have no offense and just be trading 55-yard
Kickers will hold more
back
weight.
and forth. I think it'd be super exciting.
You think we'll find better kickers?
And I also propose a new rule. It's like in fantasy football. You know how in our fantasy football league, if you kick a 40-yarder, it's worth 4 points. If you kick a 50-yarder, it's worth 5 points. And then that's the cap on fantasy. I think you should get more points for a 60-yarder. No. We'll put it at 60.
Yeah. Make it
because
like
50 is too routine.
I think 65 plus.
Huh?
65 plus. If you're on the other side of the 50.
4 points.
Other side of the 50.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Other
points.
side of the 50, it's worth how much? 4?
4.
Or 5?
4. 1 extra point.
No, 4. 5. 5. Go 5.
That's
double
one,
it.
That's
I'm
one less.
tempted for the 5.
You can't be 1 less than a touchdown. You cannot. It has to be 2 away from a touchdown.
Think about overtime.
It doesn't
Think
matter.
about all the calculations at the end of games.
You have to
We're
be
down
2 points away from
You have
a
to redo all the calculations in your head on how many drives you need, how much you're down by. It would be really fun. I think this is a great move. I see no downside for the NFL. None. I fixed the Cowboys, at least. Cowboys would be huge beneficiaries of this.
Jeez.
We won 15 to
to
nothing. How?
Game.
3 50, 60-yard field goals. All right. On that enlightening note, that's going to do it for us today here at Will Cain Country. We'll see you again tomorrow, live from New York City. Same time, same place, though, for you, Will Cain Country, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.